Los Angeles, September 14, 2024. Estate sale, Brentwood. A modest ranch house that's been empty for 18 months is finally being cleared out. Among dusty furniture and forgotten belongings, an estate appraiser named Jennifer Walsh makes a discovery that will shake Hollywood to its core. Hidden behind a false panel in the basement wall, she finds a safety deposit box. Inside that box is a small red leather diary, its pages yellow with age. On the first page, written in flowing handwriting, "Property of Norma Jean. If something happens to me, the truth is in these pages." What do you think was in that diary? Drop your guess in the comments below. The diary belongs to Marilyn Monroe. And what's written inside isn't just personal thoughts or Hollywood gossip. It's evidence. Evidence of the most powerful cover-up in entertainment history. Evidence that proves everything we've been told about Monroe's death has been a lie for 62 years. But this story doesn't begin with that discovery in 2024. It begins on August 4, 1962, in the final hours of the most famous woman in the world's life. And the truth of what happened that night is more shocking than any conspiracy theory ever imagined. If you want the full story of Hollywood's biggest cover-up, make sure you're subscribed. You won't believe what's coming next. August 4, 1962. 12305, 5th Helena Drive, Brentwood. Marilyn Monroe's Spanish-style hacienda sits quiet in the California heat. But inside, there's tension you could cut with a knife. Because this isn't just another Saturday in the life of a movie star. This is the day powerful men decided that Marilyn Monroe had become too dangerous to live. The diary entries from that final week paint a picture of a woman under siege. Not from depression or addiction, but from pressure. Systematic, calculated pressure from people who wanted her silent. Forever. Have you ever felt like powerful people were trying to control your life? Share your experience in the comments. Entry from July 28, 1962. They think I'm just a dumb blonde, but I remember everything. Every conversation. Every promise. Every lie. And I'm tired of keeping their secrets. Entry from August 1st. Peter called again. Says I need to be reasonable. Reasonable about what? About staying quiet while they destroy other girls like they destroyed me. Who do you think Peter was? Let me know your theory below. Peter Lawford, JFK's brother-in-law. The man who connected Marilyn to the most powerful family in America. The man who, according to the diary, was sent to deliver an ultimatum that final week. But the diary reveals something even more explosive. Marilyn wasn't just having affairs with powerful men. She was documenting them, recording conversations, keeping evidence of corruption, illegal activities, and abuse of power that went to the very top of American government. She'd become a walking threat to national security. And threats like that don't get to retire quietly. What would you do if you knew secrets that could bring down the government? Tell me in the comments. The events of August 4, 1962, according to the newly discovered diary entries, began at 10:30 a.m. with a phone call that terrified Monroe. Not because of who was calling, but because of what they knew. Entry from that morning. They know about the tapes. Someone betrayed me. All this time I thought I was protecting myself by keeping records. Instead, I was signing my own death warrant. What tapes? 4 months, Marilyn had been secretly recording conversations with high-ranking officials who thought they could trust Hollywood's most famous sex symbol with their darkest secrets. She had evidence of election fraud, mob connections, and government corruption that could have toppled administrations. Drop a like if you think she was braver than anyone realized. By 2 p.m. that day, Monroe's house was under surveillance. Not by fans or photographers, but by men in dark suits who didn't carry cameras. The diary describes watching them from her bedroom window, counting how many were positioned around her property. "They're not even trying to hide anymore," she wrote. They want me to know they're watching. They want me to be scared. But I'm not scared of them. I'm scared of what they'll do to the people I love if I don't cooperate. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt watched or followed? Share your story below at 4:45 p.m. According to the diary, Marilyn received visitors. Not the housekeeper's friends, not Hollywood colleagues. Government officials who came with an offer she was supposed to refuse, leave the country immediately, disappear forever, and the evidence she'd collected would be buried with her career. Her response, written in shaky handwriting: "I told them I'd rather die than run. I meant it literally. I don't think they took it as a threat. I think they took it as permission." What do you think happened next? Let me know in the comments. The final entry in the diary is dated 7:30 p.m., August 4th, 1962. Just hours before Marilyn Monroe was found dead. The handwriting is rushed, panicked, but clear. "They're coming back tonight. I can see the cars outside. I've hidden the tapes where they'll never find them. I've written everything down. If something happens to me, if they make this look like suicide or accident, remember, I was murdered by people who thought they owned me. But nobody owns Marilyn Monroe. Not even in death." If this is giving you chills, hit that subscribe button. There's so much more to this story. To 3 a.m. on August 5th, 1962, Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her bedroom. The official cause: probable suicide from an overdose of barbiturates. But the diary reveals details that were never made public. Details that prove the official story was constructed to hide the truth. There were no pill residues in her stomach. The barbiturates had been injected, not swallowed. Her body showed signs of struggle that were explained away as muscle spasms. And most damning of all, the time of death was hours earlier than reported, giving her killers time to stage the scene. What's your reaction to learning the official story was a lie? Tell me below. But here's where the cover-up becomes truly breathtaking in its scope and cruelty. Within hours of Monroe's death, powerful figures began systematically destroying evidence and silencing witnesses. The housekeeper who found the body gave 3 different versions of events to police. The doctor who pronounced Monroe dead changed his story multiple times. Phone records from that night disappeared. And anyone who asked too many questions found themselves facing their own mysterious problems. Have you noticed how convenient it is when witnesses change their stories? Drop your thoughts below. For 62 years, this cover-up held. The official narrative remained unchallenged. Marilyn Monroe was remembered as a troubled star who couldn't handle fame, not as a woman who died because she threatened to expose the most powerful men in America. But the Red Diary changes everything. Because Marilyn wasn't just documenting her relationships. She was building a case. A case that names names, provides dates, and includes details that only someone with intimate access could know. If you're shocked by how long this cover-up lasted, make sure you're subscribed for more truth bombs. The 2024 discovery of the diary has sent shockwaves through Hollywood and Washington. Law enforcement agencies have quietly reopened the investigation. Surviving witnesses who stayed silent for decades are finally talking. And some very powerful people are very, very nervous. Because the diary doesn't just expose what happened to Marilyn Monroe. It exposes a system of corruption, abuse, and murder that protected the powerful by eliminating the inconvenient. And that system didn't disappear with Monroe's death. It evolved. Oh, you think this system still exists today? Share your opinion in the comments. The most explosive revelation in the diary isn't about Monroe's death. It's about what happened to other women who knew too much, asked too many questions, or threatened to tell inconvenient truths. Names you'd recognize. Deaths that were explained as accidents, suicides, or natural causes. "I'm not the first," Monroe wrote in her final days. "And unless someone stops them, I won't be the last." What other mysterious celebrity deaths do you think deserve investigation? Let me know below. Today, as investigators piece together evidence that's been hidden for over 6 decades, one thing becomes crystal clear. Marilyn Monroe wasn't a victim of fame or mental illness. She was a victim of a power structure that couldn't tolerate a woman who refused to stay silent about what she'd witnessed. Her diary reveals a woman far more intelligent, far braver, and far more dangerous to corrupt officials than history has remembered. She died not because she was weak, but because she was strong enough to threaten people who thought they were untouchable. Hit that like button if you think Marilyn Monroe deserves to be remembered as a hero, not a victim. The investigation continues. Every day brings new revelations, new evidence, new proof that one of the most famous deaths in American history was actually one of its most successful murders. And the men who ordered it. Some of them lived long, successful lives, protected by the very cover-up that destroyed Monroe. But truth has a way of surfacing, even after 62 years. Even after the most powerful people in the world try to bury it. Even after everyone involved thought they'd gotten away with murder. What do you think should happen to people who covered up Monroe's murder? Tell me in the comments. The Red Diary is just the beginning. Investigators believe Monroe hid additional evidence. The tapes she mentioned, photographs, documents that could expose corruption at the highest levels of government. The search for this evidence continues. And somewhere out there, in safety deposit boxes, hidden walls, or secret locations that only Marilyn Monroe knew about, lies proof that could rewrite American history. Proof that a movie star's murder was covered up by the same people who swore to protect and serve the American people. If you found this investigation as shocking as I did, subscribe for updates as this story develops. Share this with someone who needs to know the truth. And let me know in the comments, what other cover-ups do you think are still being hidden? Because Marilyn Monroe's story isn't just about one woman's tragic death. It's about power, corruption, and the lengths some people will go to protect their secrets. It's about the fact that in America, if you threaten the wrong people, you don't get justice. You get silenced. But 62 years later, Marilyn Monroe is finally getting her revenge. From beyond the grave, she's exposing the men who killed her. And nothing they can do now will stop the truth from coming out. What do you think Marilyn's message would be to women today? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to subscribe. There are more forgotten truths waiting to be told. Remember, some secrets are too big to stay buried forever. And some women are too strong to stay silent, even in death. The Red Diary has spoken. The truth is finally free.